This is the Global Broadcasting Service, serving remote outposts since 1928.
Hi, everyone. Welcome aboard the Walt Disney World Express monorail.
Caramba, we have something really big for you today.
Welcome, foolish mortals.
Now then, hang on to them hats and glasses, because this here's the wildest ride in the wilderness.
This is the DBC Pod with Phil Schoen and Jason Dodge.
Hi, friends. Welcome to this week's pod. This is the show for the week of October 13th, 2025, and we're talking about a lot of stuff today, Phil. Normally, I say this is what's going on in our Disney World. I just don't know if you'll be able to afford to go back to Disney World after all the price increases. I kid. This is not a clickbait podcast, but we're going to talk about price increases, what they actually mean in actual real numbers, not just picking like the highest ticket price and saying now it's over $200, that sort of thing. A lot of updates to the parks. We got a lot of like I'm making noise in the background. There was a lot of different announcements that caught people off guard with a couple things. We have some dates, we have some names.
I think Disney was trying to distract you with like, look at the shiny stuff over here and don't mind every price increase in the world happening over here. I just don't know if it worked.
I don't think it worked whatsoever. But we're used to price increases. I don't have historical price increases, but I recall, or at least over the last 4-ish years, we're going to talk about price increases a little bit later. I don't know how to do that. But first, I want to welcome a new member to Discord, Donkey Konga. Thanks for joining. I think they joined today, I believe, or yesterday.
I think it was yesterday.
Yeah. So welcome to Discord. That should motivate everybody else right now to join Discord right now. Find the links below. If you're watching this on YouTube, if you're watching this on TV, it's not going to work. You have to do it on your phone. So like, hit that link and follow wherever you might find us. That being said, we got a lot of news to go over, Phil. So that's going to be a big bulk of today's show. So what do we got first?
Yep. So I kind of put everything in a random order, so we'll see. So it's not necessarily in the order that news came out. But one of the things that I thought was interesting is that Walt Disney Imagineering has added a new display in Walt Disney Presents over in Hollywood Studios, and it includes a number of the models and features. It's basically all the work that's going on around the parks in Magic Kingdom and Hollywood Studios and in Animal Kingdom. It's all about those updates that are going on. So it includes the whole big giant model for Tropical Americas, and it's got like I think like maquettes and stuff like that for some of the figures for the Monsters themed land. It has some maquettes of the cars like Mater and Lightning McQueen. So because they're there, people are starting to speculate, does that mean there'll be animatronics that are in the lands or not, or if it's just there for whatever. But I thought it was kind of interesting that they've put this out there. I think it's great. These are the types of things normally you see at like D23 events or something like that. We know they did it for Epcot, right? They had the Epcot over in, I think it was in the Odyssey building where they had like the what's coming to Epcot, and it was a whole big display and stuff. This just seems like it's kind of static. It's not like moving things happen or anything like that. But I thought it was cool. And I did also want to quickly shout out DSNY did some awesome photos of the Tropical Americas model where he kind of put his camera like right down at eye level. So it kind of made it look like here's what it's going to look like when you're entering the land into Pueblo Esperanza and stuff like that. So if they can fully bring that to life, I think it's going to look really lovely. So I don't know, what were your overall thoughts when you saw this?
I mean, I think it's cool. I like how they put things into the parks. So like the casual guest, the casual viewer is going to see it. They're going to see what's coming up and maybe start thinking, oh, we got to get back in 2 years because they're adding all of these things, that type of thing. Other than that, I mean, there wasn't any new information, so there's nothing to really get excited about. But it does give you the opportunity if you are going over the next, I don't know how long it's going to be there, probably next year or so, I would imagine. You get to see some of the models from D23. You get to see things up close. But other than the Tropical America stuff, I think it was just like placards of like the art that you can find anywhere, I think. Right?
I mean, maybe they'll keep adding to it. So if they have like something for I think they had they had released that video again of like the door coaster and stuff like that. So maybe that once they start having new models, they'll add them and stuff like that. But
I mean, it could be a place to look out for, like as they add things to come. Like, I don't think this is the end of that display, but it might be. It might be like, all right, we're just going to build it now. We're not going to show anything else, and here it is. Though I would be interested to see if we get to see more details about the Piston Peak and Villains Land in this space. over the next like year and a half, I guess.
Yeah, one thing that people did jump out on is that when they talks about everything in the area for Pistons Peak, it didn't mention the second attraction. It could just be that they're not ready to release the information on it. But of course, some people are like, "Oh, that means it's cut." But I think it's probably they just haven't released the information on it yet.
I don't think we're reading. I don't think we should read into anything for this display because most likely it's like a tertiary or something like a thought process. Oh, we got the model. Let's throw it into the park with some nice placards, and that's like all the thought that went into it. I don't think the people designing the actual attractions and land or wasting any more of their time going over designing the display for the land that they're designing currently.
Correct.
So.
And the next news item, which is kind of related to it, is in the past when it was first announced for the Monsters Inc. area that is going into Hollywood Studios, Disney referred to it as Monsters Inc. Land or a Monsters-inspired area or the world of monsters. But then back in March, they started mentioning they were referring to it as Monstropolis, and that is what it is labeled at in the display at Walt Disney Presents. And at the same time, Walt Disney Parks and Resorts filed a trademark application for the term Monstropolis, citing a wide variety of use cases, including amusement park and theme park services and entertainment services in the nature of an amusement park show. So it seems fairly official, not official, but this seems like pretty close to it, that land, when you get a new guide map, it's going to be labeled as Monstropolis.
I think it's cool. I mean, and I don't think that surprises anybody. Has any other land got like trademarked? Like
I'd have to go back
or
in that.
Tomorrowland or Star Wars.
I don't
Galaxy's
know if those
Edge?
would. Yeah, you'd think Galaxy's Edge would have, or like Pandora World of Avatar and stuff. I'd have to
Can
probably
I Google
go
that?
look at it.
Star Wars Galaxy's Edge trademark. Lucasfilm Ltd LLC holds the trademark for Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, which is registered a variety of goods, including houseware, cups, plates, and dinnerware. This is AI.
This is not helpful.
From Google. Okay, never mind. I'm gonna just pass on this. I did not do my research for this question.
Yeah, well, I didn't think of that.
Whoops! But I'm assuming they have, right? We're just overanalyzing things.
But I thought it's interesting, and it makes sense because if you look at how it's designed, it is looking like actual Monstropolis, right? It looks like the streets. It has the factory in the back. It's not like Toy Story Land, which is not really a setting from a movie. It's just Andy's backyard or something like that. So I think it makes sense to actually call it the name of the city that it's in versus Monsters Inc. Land or something like that. So
it's better than nothing, I guess. I mean, what else would you call it? I mean, that's basically what I'm at. So I'm happy that they're progressing. It's just progress, right?
Yes.
It's progress.
Well, it's just nice to have something, I guess, official to refer to it as and that sort of thing.
Like that, I get upset when people call Piston Peak Cars Land. It's not Cars Land. It's not a land. It's part of Frontier Land.
And maybe that's part of why they're trying to get out in front of it, right? They want people to start calling that Monstropolis, that Piston Peak, and that sort of thing. So
that makes sense.
I'll go through this quick. I think it's just interesting, partly because I have to take an L on this one. But as it was we've reported earlier that Harambe Market at Animal Kingdom will be closing down for a little bit to make way for basically transferring the food that used to be served at, or is currently being served, but will no longer be served at Restaurantosaurus. Hot dogs and hamburgers and burgers and kind of like the normal theme park food will now be at Harambe Market. And I assumed that it was just like, well, they'll add to that menu, right? Like cut it down a little bit, but there'll still be some of the unique items to Harambe Market. It'll just mix in regular stuff. Appears that is not the case because what they're going to do is that's just going to be burgers and chicken strips and stuff like that. But they announced that a lot of the food or some of the popular food from Harambe Market will now be located in different places around the world. So, for example, Kusafari Bakery in Africa will now be open later. It used to close at 11 a.m. It'll be open through lunch, and it'll serve the chicken rice bowl and harissa chicken wrap and some of those things that were Harambe Market. Some of the Dole Whip things that were there will now be at Warung Outpost in Asia. And also similar related to this, they did announce some of the smaller shack type stands that were in the Dinoland area, Trilo Bites and Dino Bite snacks. They will be closing October 19th. And but beginning October 20th, some of the items from there, such as the Buffalo Chicken Crisp, will be available elsewhere, like 8 Spoon Cafe and stuff like that. So it seems like they're kind of closing things down and taking the popular food items and spreading them out around the park to the other existing ones. So
it doesn't make sense to me why they're doing this. Not that I'm entirely upset. Like Harambe Market's good for the vibes. That's it, because it's great storytelling, great setting, that type of thing. And there's plenty of other good food in that park where you can get it other places. But to me, it seems like it's more work to convert this to
It
hamburgers.
does
and hot
seem like a
dogs only?
lot to yeah, because having to do infrastructure changes to do it over versus just having carts or something that could do hamburgers and hot dogs. I don't know. It seems like a lot of work and moving around and
Not only that, you got Pizzafari that's not too far away from Harambe Market that can serve all of this stuff. Maybe the sales in Harambe Market are not up, so they're making it like a point to be able to sell more foodstuffs here anyway, because not enough people were going in there buying it at all. So maybe this is permanent. I don't know.
I don't know. It's interesting to see, but like you said, it does seem like a lot of work to shift everything around and stuff like that versus just having other places have hamburgers and things like that. So there must be some reason behind it. But if you're going to, this is probably, I mean, it'll start to impact you later this year, but more if you're going into 2026, just be aware there's food in different places around. So make sure you check the app for certain
As
things
long as
you
they
wanna
don't mess
see.
with Satuli Canteen, I'm happy.
Yeah, no mention of anything being shifted
Thank
there,
gosh.
anything like that. That Pandora is in its own world and that sort of thing.
Yeah, thank
So,
goodness. Thank goodness.
another news item from Disney has announced
This is big. This is a big one, Phil.
Yeah.
This is a big one.
Disney is ending the $10 discount on pre-arrival Magic Bands. So this applies both to on-site guests that if you had a resort stay, you could order your pre-arrival bands, but also for annual pass holders that with your annual pass, you got a discount if you wanted a Magic Band as an annual pass holder. I don't know. What are your thoughts on this? This seemed to get a lot of attention and a lot of pearl clutching and that sort of thing when this was announced.
It is definitely pearl clutching. Like, I don't care about this. This is kind of silly, but this is also incredibly stupid by Disney. Like, it's not a lot of money to save like $10 on a stupid Magic Band, like the Magic Band Pluses. First of all, Magic Band Pluses last a lot longer than the original ones, right? So people spend more money on them. They probably take better care of them. They probably reuse them more often. But that's just guesswork by me because that's just my living example. I bought Magic Band Pluses with this discount once, like 3 years ago. We've been using it for 3 trips now. But it's just dumb PR. What is the cost of saving $10? Like, how much money are they gaining by this per year by eliminating this versus the bad faith that they're getting or bad PR that they're getting from this? This is just dumb. Like, you're removing. Granted, this is not the perk at Woodsby when you got free Magic Bands.
Sure.
Like, that was like a big thing. So ultimately, I don't think Disney's going to take a big hit out of this because I don't think most people are really purchasing a lot of these. And then like they're still paying out. Was it $35 for them
Instead of 40?
at this point?
Yeah.
Instead of 45?
I mean, it depends on which one you get. Yeah, but it might be like 35 instead of 45.
First of all, the selections were terrible. Like,
Right.
I watched this page for like 6 months trying to find like a Remy one for my mother and then another one for my daughter. And I ended up just buying, goodness, we bought, member of Discord bought the Stitch one for my daughter. I couldn't even buy Stitch online when Stitch was hot, like over the summer. Like, this just wasn't available.
Sure.
And then I ended up buying one for my mother online and saving $10. But no, actually, no. She found one better on the Disney store online, and she paid the full price for it because the selection wasn't very good what she wanted. So ultimately, the whole thing was dumb. It was going away anyway. But I'm not going to give Disney like a pass on this. This is just stupid, in my opinion. Like, I don't understand why they would do this because it's just. I don't think it's necessary.
I tried to think about like why would they bother doing this because like you said it can't really be that much that it's saving them money like oh now people pay the full 45 instead of 35. I assume they're probably going to sell less of them, right? Because some people are just like oh $10 off, I got to use my $10 off. So basically it made me seem like they must just not be selling, like that this didn't matter. You know, it made me think of sort of like what they announced when they took away early entry over at Disneyland, where they basically said our data shows people weren't taking advantage of it, so we're taking away. It kind of seemed like something like that. Like their data must show like nobody's really buying these pre-arrival bands. Why are we bothering having discounts and this and that? So just take it away and like make it simpler.
I mean, there's some. I have to believe it was a number cruncher that was just using data to say no one's buying this, or 10% of all guests are actually utilizing this. Let's just get rid of it. We don't have to have the infrastructure for it. We don't have to do all the stuff for it. Let's get rid of it. However, all the people that don't use it are highly aware that it's there and you're getting rid of it. Like, if it's not costing you a lot, if not, like, just leave it in place. Why are you in the face of like taking away or increasing all the prices, which we'll get to in a little bit? you're again taking away another quote unquote perk. It's just going to remind people that they used to get these for free. They used to get Magical Express. I saw Magical Express like conversations going on like on Twitter and on forums all over the place. Like, oh well, they took away this. Like it's just like Disney needs to start giving things back to the people that are paying. Like, for
and I think that's a very
rooms.
valid point. Where even if you weren't someone who used this, was like, well, I have plenty of Magic Bands. I don't. It's $10 off, but it's still $35 times my family of 5. That adds up. Why am I going to use this? But it was something that was part of your bubble. That was part of like included as a perk, whether you used it or not. Like I know you're using Magical Express, but it was like even if you drove and didn't take advantage of it, you were aware that it was there and kind of bundled in with the cost of the room. You chose
not to use it,
but you were aware that it was like included and that sort of thing. So yeah, I think that's more of the PR hit than the actual item, is that it just feels like another perk being removed, whether you used it or not.
No, I think it's reminding of people what they've lost. And unfortunately for Disney, we're still only about 6 years removed from like the ultimate perks where you have like hours of free time in the parks, free Magic Bands, Magical Express, like all those things for that. Well, roughly about 15 years of time where you had all of these things from the various degrees, and now it's like you're now paying overpriced hotel prices, but you're getting what, a half hour. What's the only perk for staying on resort? Like you get to go in the parks a half hour early.
Yep.
If you're deluxe, if you're bougie enough to afford deluxe, you get to be in the parks for an extra, was it 2 hours for extended evening hours?
Yeah, 2 hours at 2 parks, like one day, two days a week.
Maybe
so,
you're there, if you
happen to be there for those days,
right.
Yeah.
And then you get to use Disney transportation, but you still get to use it even if you're you just can't get there if you're staying off site, right? Like you have to worry about something else, but you can still go park to park on Disney buses. It's not like you have to flash your band to get on them. So if you're hopping from Magic Kingdom to another park, you still get on a bus or the monorail or the Skyliner. Like no one's checking. And that to me, that's disturbing, is Disney's keep like, with the way the economy and everything else is going right now, and they're reducing the amount of people that are coming, because we still haven't seen the 2024 numbers at all, and 2025 numbers are going to be worse than the 2024 numbers, even though we still get spikes of like, yes, last week was super busy, but because it was like, was it Columbus Day weekend or something else?
Yeah,
like
it was Columbus Day weekend, and then like some days
it's not
crowded.
Columbus Day anymore. Wait, no, actually it is Columbus Day again, but it was an indigenous.
Well, it depends
people.
where you are. Our school district calls it Columbus Day and Indigenous People Day. So
okay,
they
I'm not getting that debate. But I'm really interested to see what Disney's going to do about some of this stuff. Again, ultimately, people aren't losing out about this that are listening to the show. They already have their Magic Bands. They're probably not buying the ones that are available anyway. However, Disney's increasing pricing and taking another perk away. That's basically what we have to account. It's just a self-inflicted wound that it was inexpensive to just keep out there, in my opinion. I mean, if they wanted to quietly get rid of this, you just limit the options and just put like all the old stuff on there that you're trying to get rid of.
And that seems like they were kind of doing for a while.
Exactly. Anyway. So like if people wanted the latest and greatest, they still had to buy it full price from the store or on property somewhere. Why just remove this? Let's just let it slowly die where no one even realizes it's available anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know. It doesn't make sense.
One other little quick thing that actually is not Disney is that Universal did announce that holidays will be coming to Epic Universe as well as the other 2 parks. They announced that in addition to holiday decor that will be in the Wizarding World of Harry Potter Ministry of Magic, they will also feature seasonal lighting and decorations in Celestial Park. So kind of like their equivalent of Main Street or whatever. It doesn't seem like any special holiday shows or stuff like sometimes they do some of that in the other Wizarding Worlds and things like that. So no like seasonal entertainment, at least announced so far, but at least in year 1, they certainly didn't have, the parks knew enough that they didn't have to do this, but they are going to be doing decorations.
That's good. I mean, you got to set expectations, right? Like, why are we coming next year? Because they do a good job for Christmas. So I'm looking forward to seeing it. It's not going to make me want to go during the holidays, but like, I always love when people decorate for the holidays. It should be fun.
Agreed. Now kind of the big news items, and this is, Chris, we'll get into the price increases after this. This is what I put in here is Disney World news items to counter the price increases.
Counter programming.
I don't know if it actually worked. So the news first one is that Rock and Roller Coaster starring the Muppets. We knew it was opening in 2026, but now they have given us a time frame of summer 2026. They also revealed the new poster that kind of looks like another kind of music festival poster or something like that. The other thing is they hinted that previously they said that Scooter was going to be a new animatronic that was going to be in there.
And some of the penguins and stuff like that.
Yeah, and now they've hinted that Scooter won't be the only Muppet animatronic. So some speculation about what that is, if they're bringing over Statler and Waldorf or something like that, or I don't know. I thought it'd be kind of neat. Maybe they could do something when you like get to the end, because that's kind of like a weird ending at
You're
when
in
you
an
get off the
alleyway.
ride. Yeah, maybe they could do that up and have like kind of like how they have Wheezy the penguin at the end of Slinky Dog. Something like that could be fun, kind of welcoming you, whether it's Fozzie Bear or something like that. I don't know. We'll find out, but it's kind of new. The interesting thing is they still haven't announced when it's closing, though, to start the makeover. I mean, everyone's speculating it's going to be like mid to end January, but it's interesting. They updated when it's going to open without actually telling us when the current version's going down.
They can easily close the pre-show, like just like blank out that window and just do all the construction behind the scenes in there.
Do you think they would do that and just say like, yeah, there's no show, just kind of like open that up and have people move right through it while they're doing the work on it?
I mean, like the whoever's managing the project has to have a timeline for each of the set elements, right? Yeah. You got to close down the ride for a certain amount of time to do any of the
on-ride sets and stuff. Yeah.
On the ride sets. Anything that's going into the load unload areas have to close down. So that'd be like, so they're like, all right, we need 3 months for all this, right?
Yeah.
But let's say because most of the animatronics are going into that pre-show scene, and that requires the most amount of wiring and all this whatever testing and like coordinating the show, we need 5 months for it. So like you need to shut down the ride for 4 months, but like the front needs 5. So maybe you can keep the ride open for an extra month and just kind of close that off. That's, to me, as a project manager, that's how I would do it. Like, well, we really don't need to see this section. It's bad show, but people still get to go on the ride, right?
Yeah.
So I could see them doing that depending on how all the timetables kind of align,
Yep.
I think.
That'd be interesting if they did that and they like really got it down so that the ride was only down for like 3 months. Like you said, it's going to have to be down for because anytime they're touching the on-ride stuff, they'll have to do testing and stuff like that. But yeah, if they could cut the actual ride downtime in half or something like that, that would be interesting.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see if they change the envelope for anything. I doubt that they're going to change like the envelope where they do envelope testing. I mean, they're probably going to do it anyway, just because. Sure. But like, there's not much in that gravity building other than like neon signs that you see for like a split second.
Yeah, and it sounded like they're going to be similar or even the same, but just muppified or whatever. So it's like they literally could just use that, like trace those or whatever. So like you said, it's the exact same envelope or whatever. So.
I'm interested in see what it looks like. Well, here's another question for Rock and Roll Coaster. Now that we're talking about it, are you going to spoiler yourself on this, or are you going to wait until you get to go once it's fully released next summer?
Like a lot of things, it'll probably depend if and when I have a trip planned. If I have a trip in the next couple months, then I'll try to wait. But if it's more than that, I'll spoil myself.
I know you're typically like 3 or 4 months.
Yeah.
Like if you're going the next 3 or 4 months, you're gonna go in blind, but otherwise you're gonna look at it. Are you really gonna have a Disney World trip at the end of next year after going to overseas in February?
As of now, we will not, unless we do like just a down and back at some point. Like,
of course.
So,
well, we'll talk about down and back a little bit.
A little later. So yeah. So
All right,
my guess is I will not have a big trip, and therefore will spoil myself.
Yeah, I'm gonna spoil myself. I'm not super excited to see this in person. Like other attractions, like I could get the same value of watching the pre-show like on YouTube versus
that's the big thing too. It's not like a storyline that they're revealing or anything like that. It's like the pre-show, and there's no way that's going to be all over Twitter and stuff like that. There's no way I'm not going to see that and that sort of thing. So if I don't watch any like POVs or something, it's not really that big a deal.
Exactly.
Next news item is that the animatronics in Frozen Ever After are going to be updated to no longer use projections for the faces and that sort of thing, but be like the version that's in Hong Kong that is like with the regular animatronic faces. All we know is that this will happen early next year, but no specifics beyond that. So I found this funny that I forget it was the last episode or the one before, we were going through like, which of the things in Epcot do we think is going to be updated next? And we never even mentioned Frozen.
No, of course not.
The one that's going to
be
updated
dumb.
Next. Yeah.
I mean, this is like totally surprising, right? Like, but this goes along the lines of I think I asked you like at random, we're talking about like the next CEO type of thing, like, are the daily like small, I consider this a small update throughout the parks, going to continue, and they are, right? Like they didn't have to change out these animatronics. The problem is I think they were breaking down more often than not. So this is just like cheaper to just rip the Band-Aid off and put the money in now rather than spending all this OpEx at repairing it type of thing.
Yeah, that was my understanding. It was one of the reasons they did the projection facing. They thought they could get more emotion and stuff out of it, but that it would be cheaper to do these because there's less moving parts and stuff like that. But as it turns out, especially for the faces, because they're so have to be so exact that the camera even being off like a millimeter or whatever throws the whole thing off, and it's actually requiring more maintenance than the traditional animatronics. So I think that might actually be one reason they're switching it up, is that in the long run, it'll actually be lower maintenance costs.
Now let me ask you this, because there's plenty of people who are like, oh, because it's cheaper in the long run, Disney stinks. They're upgrading these animatronics to better ones because it saves them money. Typical Disney. And it's just like, why can't it be both? Why can't it be both? Like, yes, it's cheaper and it's more awesome for our guests.
I know.
Like, it's a win-win. Why are we there's plenty of people arguing that it's not a win because it saves Disney money.
Yeah, which is ridiculous. I mean, they're still losing money when the ride's down and making the changes and stuff like that. Like,
no.
This is absolutely not
reason. That's too reasonable.
This is not something they had to do. The lines were plenty long as it was. So no, this is great to see. Talking about with Rock and Roller Coaster, how long the changeover will be. It'll be interesting to see what this is, because obviously they don't really need to do ride testing and stuff like that. Right. Are they making like totally separate animatronics and they can just like pop one out, pop one in?
I would think so.
Yeah, so I don't know. It'd be interesting if they kind of just do this overnight or do it like figure by figure. I don't know how much testing requires.
I mean, I think they could test them off-site and just plop them in there, spend like, what is a typical refurbishment for a ride? Like, how long was Little Mermaid down in Magic Kingdom? It was like 3 weeks or so?
I was going to say, about 3 weeks.
Like a month? Less than a month? I think that'll be the same thing with Frozen.
That's what I'm thinking they'll probably wind up doing, because especially as a water ride, like they kind of need regular maintenance anyway. So whenever it needs its little touch-ups anyways, when they'll make the change, and one whole down for a month or something like that. But this shouldn't be anything long.
Yeah, it'd be easier to do work on it when there's not water right next to it, right? So I would imagine they'd take down, do some of the water maintenance type of stuff, and go from there. So again, I am super surprised that they did this. Like, no one was doing this, even though some people were predicting, oh, we'll change that type of thing. What is your was this surprising when you saw this, or did you kind of just like glance over and be like, oh, that's cool, and you moved on? Like, where did this hit on your like surprise-o-meter, if there's such a thing?
It surprised me. It was probably mildly surprised, especially the timing of it, and I think more because of it feels like there's other things in Epcot that should be a higher priority than this,
like the lights in the ground.
Exactly. That's a great example of that. Yeah, like things like that, like, and hopefully that's getting fixed too, but like even like versus the bigger update to Spaceship Earth or Journey into Imagination or something like that. Obviously this is a much smaller thing.
Well, yeah.
But yeah, it was nice to see, and it was something that I was hoping they would do eventually. And so maybe this is just one of those kind of easy wins they thought they could do. Again, look at this shiny thing over here while we're raising the price 20% or whatever. But
let me ask you a random question, because Matt brought this up on Discord today. Is having the communicore hall empty or back to like vanilla during Food and Wine, is that considered Diet Epcot to you?
I don't think that's Diet Epcot. To me, Diet Epcot was the summer when there was no festival booths. I think that's misusing the term Diet Epcot. I think it's poor show that they didn't do anything with it when we've seen what they can do with the other festivals. I think part of the reason was because they were doing the whole summer with Goofy thing, and like that stretched into the start of Food and Wine, so they couldn't really redo it.
Food and Wine is basically over at this point.
Yeah, or at least half over or something like that. So I
think it's over. I mean, like, they're not promoting it anymore, right?
Right,
everybody's getting ready for the Festival of Holidays that starts.
Yeah, so I think they just figured
weeks?
It wasn't worth it, and we know Santa Claus is going in there this year, so maybe they need more time to do that work and stuff. It kind of just seemed like it would have started late, the changeover, and ended early. So it's like they figured, why bother?
Worth it, right?
I still think they could do more with it, even when it's in this phase, even if it's just like more projections on the walls to kind of make it look a little nicer. Which it would be nice if that was going on now, but I don't think it's a huge deal that they didn't decorate it for given those aspects.
I generally agree with you. I think Diet Epcot is basically no festival going on. That is Diet Epcot.
Yeah.
Communicore Hall is such a tiny space. It's basically a walkthrough space.
Yeah.
That everybody's getting up in arms about. Like, there's no thing here. And it's just like, there's a big giant park around you. Like, this is like a place to sit. The only thing, I haven't seen a picture of what it looks like now. Not that I've gone on my way to see it. Is it completely empty? Is there like tables and chairs in there?
It's back to what it was.
Tables.
No,
Or
it was
lounge
back to
chairs,
what
I
it
should
was
say.
before, like looking like those cafeteria style tables and chairs and stuff
Okay.
like that.
I think that's enough,
Yeah.
right? Like if we're not going to have like a major display that could be there for like 4 months,
Yeah.
like that's fine. There's still I need places to sit, need places to chill, need places to charge your
Oh,
phone,
the
right?
fact it exists is a very good thing for the park. I think it could look a little nicer. I think the tables and chairs could be a
Yes.
little nicer. Like I said, if you're not going to want to do a mural on the wall because things are changing out, do it using projection. Something they could still plus it a little bit, but the function of it is there's always people in there just like getting some air conditioning and charging their phones and stuff like that. It's
It's a
absolutely a good
it's a
thing
nice
that
peaceful
exists.
area.
Yeah.
And I like it. The only thing I would want more of is they've got that they got food in there, right? I forget the name of the
Yeah,
booth
so they
that's in
have the
there.
booth in there that's not being used right now. I know in the past it was like the mac and cheese booth and stuff like that.
Yes.
They have on the outside of it is where they opened up
The
festival favorites.
favorites. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's on the outside of the building. Obviously, a lot of people get that and then bring the food inside. But right now, the booth that's inside is not open.
I would want them if we're having generic Communicore Hall, I would like to see some food options inside and then like stations where you can have like an extra paper plate or like napkins or like condiments or whatever. I'd like to see more of an area like that greenery area once you get past Canada, but not at the Imagination Pavilion. It's got all
Oh
the
yeah,
you
yeah,
got
yeah.
like the turf area and stuff like that. A little bit more in there, but I think it's just to me it's a free space, and the fact that we've been talking about it for longer than 5 minutes is my fault because I'm the one that brought it up.
Yep,
But
that's all right.
I don't know. I get amused when people get
I think
you
it's
know
just one of those because it was the last thing done, and it kind of almost symbolized the
maybe
less than
maybe
thrilling result of what happened. I think it's just kind of more what it symbolizes than itself in its own. But
I also like Matt did bring up about Encanto, like that show, like it's been there permanently.
I
Like
know that was definitely supposed to be like a seasonal thing, and it's been there like 2
I
years now, right?
I like to see that go. Like I've seen the show. I wasn't a fan of the show like watching it on video when it was first released, and I've been there a handful of times now while it's ongoing, and it just doesn't catch my attention whatsoever. I
Yeah.
think they need to put something different there that
It's change it up. Like
do something. I don't know. It to me, it's like I don't think they need to just put like bands there and just play like random bad music, but like I don't think they need to have like a whole show where you need to be there at a certain time to catch like the interactive parts or whatever. I think there just needs to be good entertainment in that area. Serve some beer, some food, and maybe you could just have a band playing and just have like like.
I don't know what the right the thing that jumps out at me would be like something that interacts like a performer, like a Yeehaw Bob types person there. I think
Yeah,
could be
that'd
fun.
be good.
So I mean, not him specifically, but something like that where it's kind of like a piano player that interacts with the crowds and stuff like that could be fun. But
Yeah, I think so. I think they could do more with that space. I don't think Encanto, like they're not having like an Encanto sing along, and even I don't think sing along is going to get people to go there to like spend time. People want to go
Yeah.
there, eat, drink, and like that. I think eating and drinking is what's going to keep people in that area.
yeah,
I don't think like a kids show is going to get people to stick around in that space when you have rides and other attractions to
Yeah.
go to at the time. I think it has to be a little bit more adult oriented, most likely.
makes sense. And the last bit of news was the Zootopia Better Together. They gave a first look at the Clawhauser animatronic. Interestingly, it also is using like fully animatronic eyes. The one in Shanghai uses projection eyes. I don't know if that's also because they're just trying to get away from projections or because it's in like a theater, so projection eyes would look really creepy, like in a dark theater and
Sure.
stuff like that. The other thing was they announced with that is that previews have been announced for this. The official opening is on November 7th, but they announced that annual pass holders will have previews on the November 5th and 6th, utilizing the virtual queue, like for everything that's ever had a virtual queue there. And then DVC will have their preview on November 1st to the 3rd. You have to pre-register for that starting on October 23rd if you're staying on site, or October 30th if you don't have a reservation. I saw Len Testa also mention that there's going to be some other preview at 8 a.m. on November 1st, but there's an NDA preventing him from sharing what it is. So I don't know if it's media, travel agents, influencers,
Whatever.
something like that. Whatever.
It's a show. It's a show.
It'll be interesting what it is.
What are your expectations for this?
I don't know. Like, It should be fun. I really like Zootopia. I'm assuming the music will be good and it'll be entertaining and see new
You have like
animatronics and
original
stuff.
pieces going in here. Like
Yeah.
it's a production.
And one thing I heard mentioned was the people that are making, I think his name is Jared Bush, who's making Zootopia 2. They worked on this attraction like at the same time they were working on Zootopia 2. So it should be like really authentic and feel like not like the secondhand version of like Zootopia. It should feel like the real thing. So I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. It's a really neat space. They did some cool stuff with it. It's tough to be a bug, but it's nice to be updated. And I like Zootopia property. Again, we can argue whether it belongs in Animal Kingdom or not, but it is what it is, and I will enjoy the show. I'll be there the second day of when it opens on November 8th. So I'm looking forward to it.
We got live reporting from you. I'm really looking for like I'm not a fan of like old like 3D films that are like really heavily leaning into this is 3D. Ooh, like Muppets 3D. If it wasn't the Muppets, it wasn't nostalgic.
And the Muppets are joking about it too. So
right, but like it to me, it's like it's a 90s version of what 3D technology can be. Right, like I get it. It's also 30 years old at this point. Let's like even the Tough to Be a Bug stuff. That was a great show, but it was also like, let me force feed you these effects because they're brand new and people aren't used to them. I'm looking forward to a modern show that has whatever jokes and projections, all modern technology, modern effects. I think it'll be really cool. I just hope that they do, and I don't think they are, but a little sprucing up the queue might be interesting too if they're able to do that. But I don't think anything outside that theater is going to change. It'll be maybe the the marquee for the attraction.
Yeah, that's been up. They've I think it's covered, but it's in place and that sort of thing. It'll be interesting to see. They always had all the joke posters, like for the movie posters, like with the bug version. I'm assuming they'll do like Zootopia versions of that sort of thing.
As long as kids are coming out of this thing smiling and having a good time, I'm okay with it.
And it is an interesting thought. Like as a modern 4D show, is it going to feel like different than the old ones? Like is it still going to feel this like the same type of 3D effects, or is it going to feel more modern or whatever?
The animatronics are going in there. That's really great. I'm really interested to seeing how that theater changes. Is this still going to look like the inside of a tree? Are they going to do like new, like, are you still going to run those like pneumatic lines through like all the benches? So it feels like, the bugs are like underneath your butt type of thing, or like, are they going to use that effect? Or are they going to recycle it? Or are they going to rip out everything? Like, I'm really curious to seeing how they redo the whole inside of the tree type of thing. So I'm looking forward to that for sure. Okay. All right, so let's move down to construction updates. Now, there's quite a few updates, important updates, but there's very little to talk about, right? So this is an audio podcast for the most part. First one, I debated putting on this, but this is a refurb. The PhilharMagic is going down while you're there. They're doing a refurb. I don't know what they're doing a refurb for, but I think it's standard, like making sure
they did say they're going to be redoing the seats.
Oh, okay. I missed that part. There you go. So typical refurb, nothing fancy going on. They're just
as far as we know, they're not changing out the video at all.
I did not update Animal Kingdom on my list, other than in Tropical Americas, construction's going vertical. The crane is fully up there. You can start seeing them, dig in and start getting the foundation in place. I think it's really cool. That's
BioReconstruct has a ton of photos out, and you can see like
and a video.
Yeah,
I've never seen him post a video before. Maybe it's just me missing it, but like somebody posted a video. I'm like, oh, there's actual video of him flying over.
So you can see some of the infrastructure and like the foundation going up, and like where there's going to be big supports and stuff like that. So
nothing in Epcot. At Hollywood Studios. Demo has started an animation courtyard. I think somebody clipped a picture. I have Black Mickey here as a reference. Like the awnings for where like the Disney character meet and greets were on the right hand side, where Disney Junior was. So those awnings are coming down. And then Monstropolis, as we're now calling it, you could see like there's one picture where it looked like a floor down. There was like 4 supports for the building. I'm assuming that's just deep supports for whatever
is holding something up.
What's holding everything up, right? So, I mean, they're going deep. And then there are also like what look to be like utility tunnels almost. Not like man tunnels, but like thick pipe for, it It could have been water. It could be like
Yeah,
regular other
we
utilities.
saw those
whatever.
pipes before, which I think was going to be for drainage. I'm assuming it's tied to that or whatever, but I guess we'll see.
Look like drainage, but you never know. I'm not a
Yeah.
construction expert, but those are in the ground, like, rather than sitting around. So that's some other changes to that. And I think that's it. Like, there's nothing at other construction wise at Magic Kingdom. Nothing's like started at Rivers of America. We don't have any pictures of it.
Well,
anyway.
I think I saw today though the Aunt Polly's was demolished.
Was it really? I missed that part
Yeah.
then. Okay, so I probably find out tomorrow when all the news stories are written about that tomorrow. I wasn't on the forums for half the day today, so I didn't see those.
So I forget if it said it's been fully demolished or like started being demolished, but yeah, they're on the island doing stuff.
Where did you see that?
Who posted it?
Is that on WDW Magic? And this is great podcasting. I just want to see this. So
I see it on
Forest of Attractions.
WDW News today on Twitter 8 hours ago. Aunt Polly's demolished on Tom Sawyer Island at Magic Kingdom.
Now you're forcing me to go on Twitter, which is fine. I already have that tab open. WDW NT News today. I want to see these pictures. Let's discuss these pictures. What do you see, Phil, from these? Do you have it in front of you?
I do.
Ask that before you say. Okay, what do you see?
So you see basically where Aunt Polly's was, and it's just a pile of debris. It looks like some of the roof support structure and stuff is there, but yeah, the whole building's torn down.
Yeah, I'm looking at the picture that finally came up. Like, you don't really see much of anything. Somebody's got to find a good spot to take these pictures. And I think it's once Big Thunder is open, you're going to be in the queue. You're going to see people like with cameras in the queue, just like sitting there forever, taking pictures.
Yeah, I saw somebody did that from Expedition Everest. They took video from like the very top into like where Tropical Americas was or whatever. And it's like 30, like not even 30 seconds. It's like half a second or whatever, but like they're taking like still frames from that.
He's able to get a couple frames.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm assuming people start doing that from Big Thunder.
I'm trying to get a sense of like the picture that we have is a close-up shot of something in the woods. But then like in the NT picture also has like the whole area. Is like that whole structure gone? Because it seems like there's a bit of it, but it's the whole thing gone because there's docks and like the roundabout walkway and stuff like that. That's part of it.
Yeah, as far as it's hard to tell from the photos if it's 100% gone or if it's just knocked down. But like, yeah, where it was, it seems to be pretty gone.
It looks like the whole thing is gone.
Yeah,
somebody has to get up in there. Drew, if you're listening, go out there. You have to illegally bring in one of those selfie sticks and get some clips over illegally over the wall. No one do that. You're gonna get kicked out. Please don't do that.
Yeah, we don't need Drew getting kicked out.
We need Bio to just do some flybys of Magic Kingdom if he hasn't done that.
I'm sure it's coming.
Yes, obviously. So those are the construction updates. It's just more construction updates. Honestly, I think you just keep your eyes glued to the Bio Reconstruct Twitter page, and he's going to have everything.
I guess one other one to mention is the with the hotels at the Grand Floridian, the lobby is largely open now. They redid the carpet.
I did see something, but I didn't think it was like worth noting. But maybe it was.
They redid the carpet that had been done, but they delivered all the new furniture, and like now they've just boxed off where they're still working on the bar. But the rest of the area seems open for sitting and stuff like that, and all the check-in desks are ready to go. So we have a few big fans of that hotel on Discord that are very happy and seem to be happy with the results of it. Okay. And it still seems like there'll be plenty of room for the Christmas tree and stuff like that eventually.
Area anyway.
Yeah.
I saw the news item about the update to it, but I saw some walls in the bar were still being worked on. I didn't realize it was like shrunken.
Yeah, the rest of the sitting areas are all ready to go. So
I got to pay better attention then. So those are the construction updates for this week. Reminder for our social media accounts: Twitter, Insta, Facebook, YouTube, and Blue Sky, all at the DBC Pod. All right. So the main event this week is, of course, we haven't talked about this yet, the rise of prices. Phil, prices rise every single year. What's the big deal this year? I don't know.
I don't know if it's a big deal, but rather than complain about things, but
Phil, it is a big deal. You made a spreadsheet.
I know I did make a spreadsheet.
Gosh sakes. If there's a spreadsheet involved, it's definitely serious.
But I didn't want to
make the
spreadsheet. I didn't want to get into just complaining about pricing increase because, like you said, the prices increase, and as much as we complain, we're still going to go and that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. But I thought we could take the angle of now, given the scale of the pricing increase and where it was compared to 4 or 5 years ago, and where it's going to keep going, is it going to impact how you do your trips? So I'm not questioning whether we're actually going to go again. I know I'm going to go again. But is it going to like change how I do the trips? And one thing that really, because in the past were saying, well, you could go less frequently, you could go for fewer days, switch from staying on property to off property. But one way that I think might be, and I was talking to my wife and she seemed to be kind of on board with this and get it, is doing, instead of going kind of every year for like 4 or 5 days, go every other year, but for like 2 weeks or something like that. And the main thing that jumped out at me was, and we've talked about it before, but you can't really get around the ticket costs, right? You can switch from staying from a moderate to a value, staying off property, whatever, like not buying table service, but you can't get away without buying tickets.
That is the biggest chunk of money. We've been talking about that forever.
Yeah. And it kind of hit me like, obviously ticket price always being expensive, but this past price increase, it's only a handful of days, but the most expensive days now for Magic Kingdom are $209 to enter. I mean, that's just a single day ticket, but over $200. I think with tax, it's like $223 for 1 day to get into the park.
That's crazy.
That's a lot of money. So I'm like, I don't think I can just keep doing this. Like, and it hit me when I paid for the ticket for November, where for the 4 of us, because I'm not paying my daughter's with the band, to go 3 days with Park Hopper, it was like $2,300. Like, that's a lot of money for 3 days. Like, you know, it's like,
and you haven't eaten a meal, you haven't put your head on a pillow yet.
You know, we're staying at the All Stars, and for our 4 nights, it was like $705. Like, that's reasonable to me.
That
like,
is reasonable.
I have no problem with that. But that the tickets are 3 times as much as the hotel. So it's like, what is there something we can do about it? So I started spreading out like, well, what is actually the increase? Because we also had some people on Discord were saying like, well, one of the big like kind of hacks is like at day 5, it's only like $20 more. I'm like, is that really true? There's only, and I think it used to be that way. It's not quite that cheap. Yeah. But as you get further out, it really does it does bring the per day down a lot. And I was looking at, so I just, because obviously it depends on which your starting day and stuff like that with all the dynamic pricing. But I just picked a starting point being the day, our first park day, which is November 8th of this year, and said, well, what would a 2-day ticket, 3-day ticket, 4-day, blah, 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 out to a 10-day ticket. And one thing, for example, a 3-day ticket is $509, right? So that comes out to about $170 per day. But a 9-day ticket, so going 3 times as long, is $848. So it's only like, what is that, $300 more to get 6 more days, right? So it's only a 66% increase. It's not even double to get 9 days instead of 3 days. And then I did a 10-day is $870 versus a 4-day is $645. And I'm giving a lot of numbers, but it's only 35% more to go from 4 days to 10 days. Like,
well, like before, like the multi-days started cheaper. We've been talking about this forever. Yeah. So I love your chart here. And going from the percentage increase is like 46% from last year to this year for a 3-day ticket, how much you're paying. So you're paying 50% more. Inflation was only 3% from last year, right?
Right.
And which is, to me, is absolutely incredible. So to go from a 3-day ticket to a 4-day ticket, you're increasing your cost for $136, right? So you're going from a per day from 169 to 168. So you're dropping that by 8. From 4 to 5, it's an $84 increase. So you're going from 161 to 146. From 5 to 6, you're making again another decent chunk, but you're still paying $50 for that extra day's ticket, and now your per day is $130. So now here's where it really starts getting like where the price increases really don't make too much of a difference per person. At the 7-day mark, you're only paying an extra $30 for your price increase. Yep. So you're going $105 per day for a ticket. At the 8-day mark, it's roughly the same. It's a $30 increase. But at the 9-day mark, you're paying an extra $7.
Yeah,
to go from 8
there's a little funky
days.
that happens here with 9 days because I think it averages out, and it must have hit like more weekdays than weekends or something like that. Because then the 10-day is a bigger increase than going from 8 to 9. So that's why it's
$22,
right? But that's why something funky must have been happening. Why the dynamic pricing impacts things, but still, like it's.
So if you're doing a vacation like I did this summer, where I paid an 8-day ticket, the price increase is I barely feel it. It's a 30-day.
Going from 7 to 8 is like nothing. Yeah.
Right. So if I compared pricing from, if I wanted to redo my trip from this year next year, more likely than not, I'm going to see an increase of probably right around $30 a person for tickets. which is, I guess, acceptable to me because that's basically inflationary increase, slightly above inflation. God knows what it'll be next year with inflation wise, but it might be better. I don't know, but like hotels aren't going up that much because we stay at moderates or values, like we stayed at Art of Animation. And I don't think, and I'm going to hold this true that I think most values and moderates are going to remain typically in the same cost, like tracking with inflation. It's really people coming for your typical, I'm going to go to each one of the parks, and that's where you're seeing almost a 30% increase in the cost of your tickets. And to me, in a year where they're not adding anything new is absolutely ridiculous. And I'm curious, Phil, if Disney knows that they're not going to get that many people because they're not doing, so they're ripping the Band-Aid off now versus giving people this sticker shock when they want to go in 2027 when Tropical Americas opens.
Maybe.
So I don't know if that we don't know until you put ticket prices. Maybe next year they're raising ticket prices by 50%.
Yeah,
who
knows?
It's freaking crazy. But like at this point, if they chose this year to make up for the extra than inflationary increases for the last 3 years, because it's been inflationary only in the last couple of years, right? The price increases have been dramatic. This is the first dramatic price increase since I think 2021-ish, if I want to remember correctly. So, I mean, you mentioned that maybe you're going to go to Disney World every other year at this point for like a longer trip.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what we did our last cycle. But this, to me, my biggest takeaway is if I want to do a down and back with any of my kids in the next couple of years, or even with my wife, we're spending $160, $170 a person per park. And that does not go down with like a 2-day ticket or a 3-day ticket whatsoever. And that's what really irritates me and frustrates me, because I'll go down to Disney World for a weekend, but I'm not spending $400-$600 a person to go down for like a week. Because we were thinking about, we're not going to do a big Disney trip next year, but maybe we'll do like a long weekend with the family. I'm not doing it that. I don't see the value of going to the parks because we go as often as we go with nothing new. That we're going to drop, what did you say, $2,300 on tickets for your family?
Yeah, roughly. Yeah, for the
it'll be 5 times 6, so it'll be over $30,000 for my tickets with tax, just to go for like a 3-day weekend to go to the parks that we've been going to. Like, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
I can't justify a 3-day trip. Now, Phil, I don't know if they're going to turn into Kohl's, where they say automatically say, hey, we've got a 3-day ticket package, 3 parks, not Magic Kingdom, for $94 a ticket, and then you're like, oh, I'm definitely going.
Yeah.
Because if this is the new reality, Phil, I don't know about you, but $94 a ticket, I think I'm going, Phil. I'm going to try to squeeze that one in.
That was another thing that I thought of too, is rather than another way we might do it is we might get attracted to a deal like that, where instead of planning our trip, it's if they announce a ticket thing, then we'll plan it, but not until then. That sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a Disney fanatic, obviously. I'm going to try any excuse to get down there. I can't take my family for a weekend trip at these prices. Like, I refuse to. I will still, apparently now, just because I took my daughter for a down and back and went age 12, now all my kids, even without me telling them, now assume when they turn 12, they get a trip to Disney World with dad. So God knows what they're going to be in 2 years when my son turns 12. But if there's a ticket deal, what did we say last week, right? When they announced all the discounts for all the hotels for the first 4 or 5 months of next year. It's not a big deal. It's the same discounts.
Kind of the standard, yeah.
And they're not saving that much money. Like, you're saving, if you go to a value, you're saving what, like $40 a night, $50 a night, whatever. And if you're at a moderate, you're saving what, $60 a night?
Something like that.
That's not enticing you to go down. But if you knew that a 3-day ticket for your whole family was, $200 a person, and all of a sudden you're cutting that a 50% discount, and maybe kids go free or whatever that type of thing is.
Yeah.
All of a sudden it's like, we better take this opportunity because who knows how expensive it's going to be in 6 months from now or a year from now. Let's do it. We have to see those discounts though, right? We have to wait. So we'll see. But yeah, I think I would pull a trigger on a ticket discount. And I think we've been pretty consistent about that. Like over the last year, like tickets is where people really start making their decisions, at least people that are savvy with Disney and their pricing.
Yep.
Right. Like it's tickets that held everybody back, in my opinion.
And one thing that I did figure out, because like as a Disney fan, like would I be able to stay away for every other year? If I was getting the itch, could I go down? And like what we did this past February, where the itch was getting us, and we did down and went back for an after hours event. So I just worked out the math that if I wanted to go every year for a 4-day trip, so 2 4 days worth of tickets would be $1,290, whereas that 1 10-day trip for the tickets was $870, right? So you're getting
This is
2
a
more
cost
days.
this is a single person, right?
A single
One
person.
person.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, one person to go on 2 4 days. The tickets are just about $1,300, and if you're going 1 10-day, it's only $870. So about $420 less to do a 10-day trip versus 2 4-day trips.
Here's if I were Disney. Now, I don't know what their occupancy rates are
Yeah.
forecasted to be over the next 10 months. They have a lot of that data already because people are booking. I don't know what their trend line is, people going to the parks. But it would be very interesting to see if they see attendance drop, where that typically if you book like a 10-day ticket, you have a 2-week window to use those 10 tickets in. I think it's a 2-week window.
Yeah.
But it is a very small window to use all 10
Right.
of those tickets. If you could buy, I think we talked about this a couple weeks ago. If you could buy a 10-day ticket at that cost, but could use them in one full year, like an AP, like, okay, you book your tickets, your first ticket is February 1st, and you have February 1st of 2026 to January or whatever, 2027. Would you buy a 10-day ticket if you can use all 10 tickets throughout the year?
Yeah, I mean, I would. And
I'd buy it.
The one thing that made me think is that Disney doesn't want people to vacation how we want to go. Like, that's
Yeah.
not what they want. The one thing that I did add in, though, was
before you go on, though, like, where do they get that data from, though? Like, obviously, it's obvious that there isn't because they don't offer it, right?
Right.
Like, if there was a way to make money, they would do it. I also think that Disney's very stupid with some of their marketing sometimes, so I don't really trust the gurus of marketing.
I don't know. I mean, I know we know that Bob Iger said that the typical Disney vacationer goes every 2 to 3 years. That's kind of their average. And then obviously there's the locals and the people that have pass holders that go down a whole bunch.
They don't count.
But it seems like they don't market to the in between. The people that go every year would go twice a year or something like that. And I don't know why. Like, I guess they figure if you're in that group, you're going to get an annual pass, have DVC or something like that. That's what they're marketing to.
I don't know. I think there's plenty of people that fall in the.
It feels like it. I mean, it's
2 or 3.
like,
I mean, like you and me are like, we're basically every 8 to 16 months,
Yeah.
depending on what's going on with our lives.
and at least in our sphere, like there's a lot of people like us that I don't know.
I mean, again, I think we were talking about this on Discord. Like, if we could buy a 10-day ticket where it's $100 a ticket. Maybe that year we were only going to go for 2 days that year, but now we had a 10-day ticket, so we have to find an excuse to use those tickets for the year.
And like we said, like maybe they're only valid if you're staying on property or something. Like there's a way to make it. I think Disney can make it work. I don't know.
It's just frustrating. I mean, we were talking about this in a tangent here. We're talking about it on Discord. Like, was the Eddie Soto was tweeting out like complaining about, like, he's making a snarky comment like, oh, you have to make reservations and you have to plan. You have to, like, the typical comment that ex-Imagineers like to make because they're bitter. And I was like, and I tweeted back, I was like, I went this summer. Like, I didn't have to make any reservations. There's only one or 2 days I used Lightning Lane, so I wasn't stuck on my phone. And other than maybe the exceptional, like, especially we're going to talk about Epcot, like instead of Geo 82 in the past, Geo Space 220 and Akershus, I could get a reservation for any restaurant I wanted on the day of, like 2 hours before I wanted to go. And to me, if Disney was more flexible with their tickets, like, why is an any day ticket that you have available to go into Epcot as long as you have an ADR? Like, go to Epcot for dinner, fill those restaurants up instead of having like quick service, whatever.
Yeah, and then they used to have a regularly available after 4 entrance ticket to Epcot, and I think there used to be for locals like a after 4 Epcot pass, like annual pass. Like, I don't know why they're not doing more stuff like that.
Because the restaurants are empty in Epcot. Well, maybe not empty, but they're not busy.
No,
except for a couple of them. So anyway, I think the next level, because I don't think hotel discounts are going to push people to go to Disney at this point. I think Disney's going to be Disney because people just have money and want to go to Disney World. They're going to take advantage of their discounts because Why go when there's no discount when I can go when there is? So that's going to influence people when they book, not
Yep.
to book. I think anybody that's booking now was going to go to Disney World anyway. I don't think those discounts are
Or
enticing
maybe it
people.
convinces them to upgrade. I was going to stay at a value, now I'll stay
True.
moderate or something like that.
I don't think you're convincing fence sitters, do I go or not go with
Yeah.
those discounts at this point. I think you're going to convince them to look into it, and then they're going to see the ticket prices, and they're going to go, heck no, we can't afford to go at those prices. I'm going to reiterate this. I knew 2 families over the summer that went just because they had a $94
Yeah.
ticket or whatever it was, and they did not go to Magic Kingdom over the summer. They went to every other park, and that's all they did, and they were unapologetic about it. And one of them was an Uber Disney fan. We're like, we just didn't go to the Magic Kingdom that time, and we had a good time. I'm like,
Yep.
That's fair. I don't know. So yeah, ticket prices. We can talk about this for the next hour, and it's not going to change a darn thing. But it's going to impact, like we talked about was it last week you talked about the resort only stay?
Yeah.
Was that part of one of our topics? Maybe that reinforces it even more that if I want to get my Disney fix next year, maybe my wife and I just go and do a resort only stay and maybe buy an Epcot ticket, and that's it. If we're down there for 4 days, we only go to the parks for 1 day to go to Epcot and get some, festival time in, and that's it. But if the tickets were cheaper, we would go to a park every single day.
Yep.
To me, it's just like Disney's. I think Disney's losing money, but probably not. Well, no. What is the annual meeting this week or next week?
The earnings call is early November. Still a couple weeks.
I keep thinking it's in October. It's still
it's like
still
November
like a month
8th or
away.
something,
Never mind.
yeah.
We'll find out how good they are at this point. Okay, we'll see. All right, let's move on to.
Just one thing before we move on, because
Go
we
ahead.
were asking about Bio having to do a flyover of Magic Kingdom. I just refreshed Twitter. Apparently he did.
Oh,
And he just posted pictures of Tom Sawyer Island. I think it had been posted before. The bridge between the 2 islands is removed, but the fort has been demolished. Fort
oh my
Longhorn.
goodness! I got to look at this right now. Let's see.
Yeah,
All right.
Fort Langhorne on the North Island of the former Rivers of America has been destroyed.
Wow, there's trailers all over the place.
Yeah.
Okay, so if this is today, it appears that Aunt Polly's is still standing.
So
Like,
he
I'm
marked
thinking,
it.
like-
His photos are from yesterday. They're marked as October 12th.
Okay,
So Aunt Polly's must have just gone down today, but the fort was down yesterday.
Oh wow, that is completely demolished. Thank goodness. I'm never getting concussion there again. That's good. The bridge is gone. That's all gone. All right. What we have to go back. When did we say the trees were going to be gone? Are they going to start taking down trees?
I forget what we said.
It was early-ish, I think. Now here's another question: do they remove the trees just in the front first, or do they remove all the trees all at once in an
Ooh.
ongoing process? Because they could leave the ones in the back, right?
Yeah.
Before they're ready to do Villains Land, so we don't know their plans. This is kind of exciting. I love seeing things like, let's get beyond, yes, they're replacing whatever. Let's have acceptance of that.
Exactly.
I love progress.
I mean, I felt the same thing with as I might not be happy that Muppets is gone, but I want to see if it's it, rip the Band-Aid. Let's go.
Let's go. Let's move.
Let's move. Yes. I'm glad. It's nice to see the movement going. So
Okay,
sorry for that tangent of a tangent of a tangent, but
no.
that I mentioned.
Like, there's some other pictures. I shouldn't be talking about them because this is not a very visual show, even on YouTube. Man, that's wild. Okay, that's a really cool picture. Check out Bio Reconstruct where you listen. This will be 12 hours old at this point. Okay, so we've got 2 other things to go. We might as well keep doing these because why should we save it? Because one of them is a DBC engagement for next week, which is the game that we're playing with is what 3 things or tools that you cannot live without on a Walt Disney World trip. And this is not like I have to plan to go to this restaurant or I have to do this ride or this activity or this attraction. Like, what are 3 things that either bring with you from home that you can't live without, or things that you go there and you immediately buy for your whole trip, right? That you're using. And these are things like magic bands, but that's like an easy answer. So like, that's not something you use. And I'm looking at your answers for the first time and realize that's one of them.
Yeah.
Strike that one out. Magic bands are simple, but I get it, right? So Phil, what are your 3 things that you can't live without on a Walt Disney World trip?
Okay, so I was going to put a backpack, but I saw you put that there. So the first thing I put is charging packs. I need to have something for charging phones and stuff like that.
That's a
just
good
go
one.
through it, so I need to have those.
How many do you bring with you?
I usually make sure if it's just me, I just have 1 with me. If it's like the family, we'll have 2.
Okay. I usually bring 3 with me, and I usually have 2 on me at all times.
Yeah, well, I usually have at least 1 extra that's like charging in the room. And then we bring,
Yep.
exactly. I was going to say magic bands, but I'll on the fly switch that out to sunscreen. I need to have sunscreen.
Yes. That's a tricky one because if you fly down, it's hard to bring sunscreen with you this day and age.
Yeah. We either have to.
And it's $100 when you get there.
Yeah, one thing I did find on Amazon was they have these really small bottles of spray one that fit within TSA. So I just order those by like.
Are those the size that I brought down and back?
I think it might have been. Yeah,
they're like this big.
Yeah.
They're like 4 or 5 inches,
and they last like one spray or whatever. So I have to bring like 30 of them, but I bring them. And then the last one I put was all my printed button-down shirts that I have to match.
Your
the theme
shirt
of the
game
park
is absolutely strong.
together.
I have one shirt and I was too fat to wear it. It was just didn't fit comfortably, and the size up was way too big for me. So I was in the in between. My 3 things that I have to bring that I can't live without on the Walt Disney World trip is one. If you've ever seen a picture of me at Walt Disney World, and I think I've posted plenty of them in Discord, I always have a red brimmed hat. It's a fully surrounded red hat, keeps the sun off my face. But now it's just like, that's my Disney World hat. It sits in my, early on, I used to wear it like mowing the lawn and stuff like this. I'm like, no, this is special. So now I've taken it and I put it away. And this just trip, I bought my son the same hat. It's literally the same one. Like I bought it like 8 years later. It's Amazon still remembers which one I bought. I bought a new one. It's very expensive, $13.95 or whatever it is. But I always wear it now. It's just a thing. The second one is my shoulder strap bag. I used to wear a backpack like you. But as we reduced needing like the medicines, the diapers, the wipes, and all the other kind of things that you normally bring, all my kids now have backpacks. Now it's just what I need. And I usually carry like a first aid kit, some like Tylenol or ibuprofen and those type of things, and sunscreen. But that's it. So I only need a smaller bag. That's not a big thing. And I am jealous of your what you bought for your wife. There's like a place with a tiki bag. I almost bought one, but I'm not going to buy it and then not use it for like a year or two.
Yeah.
So like I'm like, all right, I won't spend the money for it now. But I need that shoulder strap bag. And then my last one is I need to bring 2 pairs of shoes with me. I've gotten this down to a science. I have the one pair of shoes that I like walking in, but people say it's important for you to wear different shoes so your feet don't get like in a, I don't know, groove. I don't know if that's a word for it, but like if you keep your feet changing in its position, your feet don't get as sore because it's moving around in different positions, like your actual like ligaments and your ankle bones and stuff like that. I don't know if that's real. I don't know if that's science, but I've seen more than one person tell me about that. And I've got a family member that is in orthopedics that it also said to like switch up your shoes if you're doing a lot of walking.
Yeah, for sure.
So I bring 2 pairs of shoes. Unfortunately, my last trip, the pair of shoes that I brought was not very comfortable for a long duration of time. So I ended up walking on a single pair of shoes. And luckily, that did not impact my trip. So DBC engagement for this week is, what are 3 things that you can't live without on a Walt Disney trip? And this cannot be like rides, activities, or foods that you need to eat. Things that you bring with you for the trip. Okay, so the interesting one that we had last week is what are some interesting Disney feats that you that are like on your bucket list, Phil? So you have a couple of them here. Why don't you go through what your Disney feat that you want to accomplish?
Yeah, I mentioned try to keep it more interesting than 4 parks in one day. So one of mine is obviously to do 4 parks in one day, but I'm planning on doing that on our next trip. I'm going to do that one day. And the other thing is that
I can't wait for you to have this, Phil. This is like long time coming.
Yeah, and then since we'll have the park hoppers for all 3 days and the Food and Wine Festival is going on, I want to have something to eat from Food and Wine Festival every single park day.
Ooh, I like that. That's an achievement. Like you need to get with my achievement thing going on. I like that.
And then more ambitious ones I thought was I would like at some point to get to all of the Disney parks around the world. We'll be knocking Paris off this year. We've several times have penciled in a Japan trip. I think we'll get that in at some point. Not sure if we'll ever do Shanghai or the Middle East one, but hopefully we'll get to all of them.
Those are going to be tough ones to do at this point for this political environment.
Yeah, exactly.
That we're
I think those are definitely way off if they happen. The other one, which I don't know if we could ever do it, I've seen some people do it. It just sounds like it would be fun, but super expensive, is that they've gone to Walt Disney World and Disneyland, California in the same day, where you went into Disneyland, then went to the airport, flew out to California, and got into Disneyland in the same day. It seems fun and kind of doable, but obviously it would be if we like one of those, like, if I win the lottery, I'm not going to tell people, but there'll be signs.
See, that's mine right there.
Yeah.
Is Disney World, Disneyland in the same day. I plan on accomplishing this at some point in the next 10 to 15 years, I think, right?
Okay.
I'm gonna go fly down to Disney World with one of my children, maybe my wife. I don't know who's up for it, right? My wife doesn't like flying, so like that much flying might be. We'll fly down to Disney World the day before. We'll hit Magic Kingdom. I don't know what stipulation counts as being in the park. I don't know if it's like Dude Perfect, like you walk in the park, do one ride, and then leave, or we have to do a certain thing or have a meal, whatever it is.
Yep.
And then we're gonna fly to California, and we'll go into one of the parks, knock off that achievement, and then it'll be like a Disneyland trip for like a day or two type of thing, right? But I want to achieve being in both parks on both sides of the country at least once. Most likely it'll be with my wife because I don't think she'll forgive me dragging my kids all over the country for something exciting like that. And I'm certainly not doing it with my whole family because that's way too expensive to do. So unless I'm older and my kids have jobs and they're going to pay for it, then we could all do it right at that point. But I'm not paying the $10,000 for like a 2-day trip to kind of.
Maybe when they're older, you could kind of split it up. So like with one of your kids and their family, you do Disney World, then you fly out to California.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Like
I
other
like
kids
that.
out there or something.
We'll
like
bridge the family vacations on. I've got 3 kids, so hopefully we can time that up perfectly. So that would be mine, is to do Disney World and Disneyland the same day. I've done all 4 parks a couple times. It's fantastic. When are we doing your trip planning for your November trip? Because that's coming up. I mean, that's next month.
Yep.
Is that like the next 2 weeks, Phil, that we're going to be talking about your trip?
Definitely. Because I leave in 2.5 weeks. No, wait, 3.5 weeks.
3.5 weeks. Oh, it's the first part of November. Oh, it's right. You're going to be down there on the 8th.
Yep.
So that's less than a month away. We got to have. I just need to interview you. What's going through your head as you're thinking about what do I do with hoppers?
Okay.
And I'm going to tell you what you're doing wrong, because you're going to do a lot wrong. Because I think you're going to overplan it. You're going to go crazy, and it's going to be amazing. I can't wait for the planning and the trip report for this. I'm very excited.
Okay.
What are some of the things that the community has said as some of their feats, Phil?
Yep. So Lumpy said there's definitely some places that on property that he wants to stay. One of them being the Copper Creek Cabin. So there were a lot of things about people had about like different locations they want to stay. He did also mention that he would love to have won when it was part of like the Year of a Million Dreams, that they stayed at like the Club 33 room that's in New Orleans Square in Disneyland or something like that. That would be great to do. I don't know how one can accomplish that unless they bring back the contest.
Like staying at a specific hotel is not a feat to me. Like that's like, you can go do that. Just go spend the money and do it. Like that's not a challenge in my opinion. Like you gotta work towards certain things.
Yep.
So Lumpy, the Year of a Million Dreams promo and staying at those some unique places, I don't know how achievable that is because of access. Like, but maybe if you have enough money, you could probably find a way to do it, I guess, right? So like, let's earn those paychecks, I suppose.
Similar to staying somewhere, though, Ryan W. says his achievement is he'd like to stay at every single Walt Disney World resort at least once. He says so far he's stayed at 7 different ones. So
I think that's definitely achievable over time. Like I like that one. I mean, that's like on my list just to like check those off as like, things to do. But I like actively attempting to do that.
Yep. Mama 6 says it would take a few years. I think it might take more than a few years, but wants to try every single dining spot on property. I know, I think it was Wheezy shared a app or something that has like all the different dining spots. I think this includes like every stand and everything like that. It was something like 761 places. I was like, I think she might mean just the different table service things and stuff like that, but we'll see. Herdamaniac said that he was able to do this at Walt Disney World, but wants to do this at Disneyland as well. He just posted a picture. What it was riding in the front of the monorail, which I said combined we've done that because I didn't do it at Disney World, and you'll never be able to do that again. You can't anymore, but I did do it at Disneyland. So together we, with our powers combined, we achieved that.
I think the whole dining thing is something I would always want to do, and if I ever get the chance to retire from work, what I don't know how likely that's going to be, I would love to spend. I don't think I'm retiring and living in Florida, but like maybe having an apartment down there or whatever that I could spend time. I would love to be able to just do that for like a year or two, just like start checking those things off and kind of with the wife in retirement. That'd be a lot of fun to do.
And then Wheezy posted this, and then some people started posting their responses to it. So I thought we'd end with this one. Was a more realistic version of the dining one, which was to eat at least one table service at each country and world showcase and tried to see where everyone was at. So he's done 4 of them so far.
Mm-hmm.
I think Matt had done everything except 2. I've done every one except 3. So I didn't know where you were at, Jason, with that.
I saw the app. I didn't download it. I've done UK, France. I was going to do Morocco before COVID. I've done Japan, USA. There isn't one. I haven't done Italy or Germany, but I've done Norway. So what is my count? 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm at 4 at this point.
Yeah. So I've done all of them except China, Japan, and Canada. So I need to fit those in.
Yeah. So that's a fun one to do. I just don't know when I'll be able to get to Canada in La Cille because it's a steak place and my wife's vegetarian, so it might be a little
Maybe
tough.
one of the guys down and back. That's what.
Now you're talking. I like the way you're thinking, Phil. Anything else that we left off, Phil, before we end this amazing podcast?
I think that's it. Just a reminder that the next week's DBC engagement is going to be what we did for our game, which is listing out 3 things that you can't live without on your Walt Disney World trip.
Absolutely. And everybody else, make sure you like and subscribe. Leave a comment below if you can. We really appreciate it. If you're still listening after all this time, we thank you. That being said, we'll see you next week and have a good one.
Take care, everyone.